Okay, so you really want to know, huh? Fine. I'm gonna start by telling you this. And this is important, so listen up. Your entire life, this one and many others, you've been a god who uses its absolute power to make yourself powerless. Entire cultures, especially this one, have all been afraid of their weaknesses, supposedly, when in reality, they've all been afraid of their power. This goes beyond the matrix of reality. This is something much deeper than that. This is eternal. This is fully realizing your consciousness. This is infinite. This is evolution. This is our divine right.
All right, everybody. You know, you hear the music and it's always true. It's great stuff. I'm really excited to be here. Today, I have a good friend of mine, Mr. Ralph Slond. He is a cosmic transformation mentor. He heals trauma. He does Reiki. The list goes on, and we'll get to all the things he does. But before we get to that, I got to do a little bit of plugs. You know, it is what it is. You got to do some plugs from time to time, and you got to make sure that, you know, the people that support you are noted as you do your show, right? Like my friends at Content Safe, you know, making sure that no matter what happens, you know, this podcast is going to get put all over the place. And then whenever I finally do some really crazy things on this YouTube channel, then you'll be able to find me on all the deeper reaches of the internet, you know, all the places that, you know, the mainstream media tells you not to go and check out. I also want to say, hey, my Facebook group is open. Go check it out. Hashtag Get Coached. It is free. The link is in the description. And I'm really, really excited. I'm about to launch my next incarnation of the hashtag Get Coached program. It is growing, evolving, and really, really turning into something incredibly special. So before I launch it, hop on. There's a link to do a discovery call with me, and within the next week before I start to travel. I'm seeing a music festival actually in Florida the last week of April. And then if you want to get in and get the deal, the pre-launch special, right? Like, God, I hate marketing, but it is a necessary thing. I'd love to talk to you anyway, right? Like regardless, I want to connect. So hop on there, grab a discovery call. I would love to spend this next week on the phone a lot. You know, I want to help you, even if it's just for an hour, and it's absolutely free to chat with me. So hit that link and let's connect. I would love that. I really appreciate it. I appreciate all of you, and I'm super grateful that I have any audience whatsoever. You know, it's been really, really, you know, trippy and surreal to connect with so many amazing people, but I couldn't be more thrilled. So now that we got all that out of the way, I want to welcome my good friend, Mr. Ralph Slond. Welcome, Ralph. I think you're my most most frequent guest so far in the podcast.
Is that so?
I believe so.
Well, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Dude,
I love it.
It's truly my pleasure. Good morning, everybody out there. Hey there, Barefoot Hippies. I'm pretty sure your name is Honey, and I type "Hey Honey" in the chat, and then all these people are like trolling me and spamming me back, you know. But I think that's your name. Confirm in the chat if you wouldn't mind if that is your name, and you know, we'll try and clear that up. Maybe Miss Honey or something like that could be a little bit more specific. That way, you know, there's nothing weird or derogatory or misogynistic. I've been writing a bunch of jokes this morning too about how misogynistic Joseph Stalin's tweets were, right? Because, you know, I think it's funny that like back in the past, people called Trump a fascist dictator. Like I never liked the guy, right? Like I want to be really clear, even though I look like, you know, one of the bouncers at one of his rallies, I still never supported the guy. You know, but fascist dictators, a little bit of a stretch. He's a fascist dictator that get, you know, kicked off of Twitter. So I'm like, you should read Joseph Stalin's tweets. They were super duper mean. We got Wasp Honey up in the comments, so coming in hot. I love it. Welcome, Lehman. Welcome everybody. Yeah, so I really want to just say thank you, Ralph, for coming to hang out with me today. It's been a long time coming. We've been talking about doing a podcast for a while, and I really wanted to do something live with you because you have such a great personality, such a great sense of humor, and a man of truly many skills. You know, when I say cosmic transformation mentor, it's true, because I know a couple of years ago when we first met, you were doing a lot of the guide stuff, helping people release trauma and doing Reiki healing, theta healing, all that stuff. And now you're really kind of at a place where you can teach other people how to do what you do, which is something that's very intriguing and exciting for me, as well as some other folks that, you know, I roll with, you know.
That is true. I mean, it's been a wild ride, man. This whole journey has been a wild ride for just how it all came to be. I'm just happy to be here. Just very honestly, I'm happy to be here. Happy to be talking to you, happy to be able to help people, happy to reach everyone who's here. I'm not reading any of the chat right now, but just let me know if anything interesting happens.
I'm more than happy to. Yeah, usually it's just a bunch of one-liners, you know. I do have funny friends. So if I look over at the screen and giggle a little bit, don't worry. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at some, I don't know, Texan who's stuck in DC, you know what I mean? Or some.
Oh, no, I'll be taking it very personal. I'll be taking it very personal. I'll be offended if you do that.
And Lindsay Zimmerman is up in the chat as well. Hey, Lindsay.
Yeah, Lindsay.
Yeah, that's awesome. Great to see everybody. I really, really appreciate you guys for hanging out. It's amazing. And dude, again, like, thank you so much. I've worked with you personally, and I have to say your results are really incredible. I'd love to talk a little bit about, you know, how you got into all of this, because you are pretty young, but I know that you have a lot of experience. So, you know, somebody like myself, I've been working with more and more younger people because you guys tend to be savvy about things that I'm unaware of, right? Like TikTok, you know, for instance, right? Oh, TikTok, what an interesting app. I was on it a bunch this morning, actually. It's kind of funny, but you know, all joking aside, a fresh perspective, but also you do have a lot of experience. So I would love it if you could tell us a little bit about how you got your start.
Sure. So honestly, this started, I'll just start with the beginning. I started really, really young. I mean, I was that kid, that Harry Potter, Star Wars nerd from a very young age. I was running around in the play yard with sticks that came off of trees from my mom's and my dad's backyard and front yard, swinging around like wands and like lightsabers making the sounds. Dragging my brothers along, saying, you know, beating them up with sticks and saying, "I killed you." You know, making my whole I was literally role playing before it was cool. I was LARPing, dude, when I was 7 years old.
Nice.
I'm not even kidding. I was dressing up with the cape and with the whole makeup set. I made my mom make me makeup, as dressing up as Harry Potter, or like Buzz Lightyear was one of my favorite ones.
Nice.
But yeah, so as a kid, I was already interested always with the supernatural, with magic and like the force and whatnot. And then when I was 11 years old, 11 or 12, I'm not sure on the exact year anymore, but around that time, my mom got sick and she got some pretty serious thyroid issues, and she got not laid off work, but she had to quit work. Well, it's in the Netherlands. She was kind of declared unfit for work. So she got some government benefits or whatever, but she became chronically ill, became chronically tired, or I don't know what it was anymore, the official title that they gave her, but it was pretty heavy. Remember, it was a quite heavy period for her. And when that happened, she very quickly started turning towards stuff like Reiki, Tai Chi. She started looking into the alternative ways of healing, self-development, all that kind of stuff, to try to heal herself, try to feel better about herself and her life. And when she started doing that, she started talking to me about stuff like chakras. She made me read, a 12-year-old boy. I read Deepak Chopra when I was 12 years old.
That's awesome.
I don't know about you, but Deepak Chopra is a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, I read his like little book, the one that's like 7 Principles for Spiritual Success or something, or the 7 Laws of Spiritual Success. I was like, that was years and years ago, and I thought that was a great little book. You know, really enjoyed that book. That was.
I remember amazing. all all I was thinking about Deepak Chopra, these books, was like, this is cool, but it's really hard to read when I was 12 years old. Here's this guy talking about quantum physics, and I'm like, whoa, interesting, cool. But it sounded all very magical, and it was all very like the message was very clear, and it all sounded to me very like, ooh, magical. I guess that's the only word that I could think of. I mean, I'll tell you this is a crazy, a little bit off track, but when I was 11 years old, on my 11th birthday, kid you not, this is when I was obsessed with Harry Potter. On my 11th birthday, we found a dead owl next to the letterbox outside in the front yard. That was the one I felt so cheated. I was like, damn it! They killed the guy. They killed the owl that was bringing my letter to Hogwarts. Like, this is supposed to be, because you're supposed to get you're supposed to get your letter to Hogwarts at 11 years old, and this was literally on my 11th birthday that the owl was laying there dead. Like, come on, where's my letter?
I'm unfamiliar with Harry Potter, so I apologize for not getting that reference.
Okay, well,
I'll say that's pretty amazing, and also I'll say on the whole role play front, you do look like you could be a character on Star Trek right now, straight up.
Well, thank you. Is it
I
the
like
turtleneck?
It's the color. It's the color. Yeah, it just reminds me of Star Trek: The Next Generation. The turtleneck, and you could totally be on on the bridge. On the Starship Enterprise.
Oh my God, I have pictured myself as such, for sure. And you can bet I have played. Well, Star Trek is not necessarily my forte. I was more into Star Wars.
Me too.
With the lightsabers and the well, yeah, you get the whole thing.
Yeah, my dad loved Star Trek, so I watched it with him. But we really, really loved Star Wars as well. Really, both.
Don't get me started about my dad and Star Trek.
They only have 2 hours, bro. So
if you have some time, well, no, I'm not going to that.
But no, you're 11. You find a dead owl.
Yeah,
you packed Chopra at 11. What happened from there?
So from there, I was like from 11 to 16. I was learning about the chakras, about Reiki, about. My mom introduced me to this whole meditation, manifestation, visualization kind of stuff, and I thought it was wildly fascinating because obviously I already as a child I loved helping people. Combine that with what in my eyes was basically magic. I mean, you get to work with energies, with chakras, with chi. I was like, whoa, this stuff blows your mind. It's amazing. So I started learning about it then, and then I used it, this kind of stuff, all my knowledge that I had here, to manifest my own dream, because my dream was to become a professional basketball player, and my biggest dream was the first step on that way was play in America. I really wanted to play basketball in America, and well, let me say I was good, but I wasn't any star power talent or whatever, but I managed to manifest my way all the way to the United States, to an opportunity that just came along, and that's how I knew that my prayers, I used everything from prayers to manifestation to visualizations. That's how I started using it, and it worked. Then when I was there, everyone thought I was weird at first, but then they started saying that I was getting some really pretty cool results, so they started doing it with me, and everyone started asking my help. And when I did Reiki, I did some Reiki stuff on them, helping them heal, which was really weird. Here there with all these basketball all these basketball players, which are pretty
making all these tough dudes cry.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
And we were getting in there. Well, I can't say I made them cry, but they felt it.
Yeah.
Then I came back to the Netherlands, and I decided I wanted to learn more about this. So I got at 18 years old, I got all my kind of diplomas, and I became a Reiki master. Started helping people, started treating people, started teaching people, and then, well, I met my beautiful wife, and from there it went into an even more like a warp speed. We went from there on, because she happened to also be a Reiki master, and well, from there on, it just got increasingly better because we learned so much together. We started treating people, not really treating, helping people, mentoring people, coaching people, and teaching people.
Mhm.
And now we are here. We get to work with such amazing people. I say we because me and my wife do it together. Adelina helps me with, on that. She helps me. She does. I do most of the sessions, and she helps me on the side, also some support stuff. And every now and again, she'll come in for a session. But man, I'm just thinking about all these people that I'm. It makes me so happy. All these people that I get to help, and it's just, yeah, it just lights me up. It's really what I love to do, helping people transform their lives from waking up in the morning, feeling, dreading the day to come, all the way to waking up and feeling happy and like, oh my God, I'm excited about life. All of a sudden, you're able to enjoy your family, which shockingly, a lot of people can't. They have an amazing job, amazing family. They can't enjoy it. Well, that's where I help them. I help them find that joy. I help them, give them the tools to find that joy.
Yeah, no, and no, I couldn't relate more to what you say. I feel exactly the same way, and I enjoy doing comedy, and I've loved all of the different roles I've fulfilled in society, and getting to work in TV and produce movies and TV and all that stuff, and it's fun, and I really enjoy that. But the fact that I get to wake up and work with such an amazing community day in and day out, like there's nothing more powerful and meaningful than that in itself, and it just continues to grow and develop and become more and more. It just keeps getting better and better,
Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's I mean, you understand more than anybody as well how amazing it is to wake up and do that with an amazing community like you have yourself. I mean, shout out to your community because you have an amazing community.
Well, you're a part of it, so that's part of the reason why it's so amazing, and all the people
Thank
and
you.
all the people in it too, and I think that's it's interesting because
Yes.
we both study trans surfing, and so like understanding the idea of pendulums and how groups work and seeing some of that stuff firsthand over the past few years, it's really helped me to understand. It's like sometimes when I was going through some of those more difficult times, I was really upset, I was like, why is this happening? This isn't supposed to happen. This seems bad, basically.
I'm insulted. I'm offended. This is not fair.
Yeah, but I learned so much, and we both did, right? Like as you're like one of the original castaways from what one of the groups that we were both involved in, and like understanding the dynamic and how groups function and how they can work and what's important to put into place, having a little bit of forethought with these egregores or egregors or pendulums or whatever they're whatever people have different words for. It's really, really, really helpful to be able to manage a group that keep people independent, autonomous. They do their own thing. They come in and be a part of a community, but there's no force. There's no, like collectivist sort of pressure on people. And so managing it has been a dream because of the lessons that, I've been able to learn from transurfing and other methodologies and just, experience of how groups work. So,
Oh yeah. It is so powerful how groups work. I noticed it myself when I run, and now I stepped away from groups a little bit. I just felt like I wanted to focus a little bit more on my one-on-one clients, but I know this group stuff is so powerful because once you're able to get a group to start interacting with each other and start putting in that energy and that really positive energy. I mean, right now in the comments already, this is a great energy with people that are, I mean, you guys are commenting and in the I'm assuming that most of the people here are in your Get Coach group. It's an assumption that I'm making. And for those of you who are not, get in because it's amazing. Because honestly, when you're talking, when you have that community, it lifts you up so much, and it's really, you use that swing of the pendulum in a positive way. You use that same, you build that momentum of growth, of improvement, and it's a beautiful vibe that you're creating, and it becomes stronger over time.
Yeah, it's cool because I think the old way or the sort of past self-help is really carrot and the stick focused, right? And so that's you self-help, right? Trying to like make yourself comply to all these standards and work really hard and hustle and grind. And man, that's exhausting.
Oh
And
yeah.
I find that the stick is probably more motivating than the carrot is in that scenario, which is really sad. So putting yourself in a position where you can put yourself in a community and have, really positive, uplifting people around you that support you, it can make you really soar. Like that's what I found over the past, I'd say, I guess like three months or so. So, like even just building this and being, facilitating the community was life-changing for me. And then a lot of people, who came in and did the course, there's the coursework, and that's great. I mean, I know some cool stuff, and I had a lot of amazing people come and guest. So that whole aspect, and we're going to continue to grow that. I'm really excited to have you come and speak to us in depth about, Reiki healing, transformative healing, trauma healing. Amazing. And continue to grow that. But it's really not about the information. It's about like what you work on, the transformation. And I find that working one-on-one, and I've worked with you one-on-one, and I've had some amazing results, has been really, really important. So I think you can take both of these things, right? Like where we work one-on-one, we work in a group, we work on our individual, and we can mix all those in a healthy way and really start to see some amazing, amazing results.
Yes. And I wanted to just hook in on that point where you're saying this is as teachers and as mentors and, as coach, whatever the title is that you have for whatever we do.
Whatever cheesy name we're going by this week.
Exactly. I mean,
Jesus.
Right?
That's why I'm like, get coached. It's like, it sounds so silly. Like,
it does sound silly.
But we do all need help, and it is technically accurate, So I didn't mean to say
not to shit on anyone who is a coach or anything, but it's like it's everyone these days is a coach, mentor, guide. It all comes down to the same thing. And it's here's the thing: all these mentors, I will tell you, most okay guides, most okay coaches will tell you the same exact thing. All of them will tell you the exact same thing. I mean, what you have to say, there is probably a bunch of other teachers who are telling exactly the same knowledge. Well, I know for sure that there's one particular special lady who's telling similar things as you are.
Sure. Yeah.
Someone who is a very good friend of ours.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, but what the thing is, you don't, and this is for, I think, for a lot of people, what I would want everyone to understand who's listening is that you don't come to people for knowledge, not in the first place. You come to coaches, you come to people to help you for their state. You come with them because they feel friendly. They feel like you feel like you've known them forever, and you feel like they have a state, like an easy flow state. It works for them. It feels good for them. That's why you come to them, because you're saying, like I said, 80% of well, you're pretty advanced, Owen. I'll give you that. You're pretty advanced. But among the advanced teachers, right? Well, the advanced, if you want to call them that, just a label, just a quick generalization to drive the point home. They'll tell the same thing, but because you have that connection with them and you have that amazing rapport with people, it's going to work so much better with them because they're able to take that state of yours and they're able to implement it in their own life because they feel it. That's why you come with someone, because you want to take their state. That's why.
And nobody's for everyone. You might want to work with somebody who tells you just 100,000 times over and over again to drop importance off a giant building, right? You're not dropping importance hard enough, and that might be the thing that you need to, need to implement that, and that's fine. Like, everybody is different. Nobody's for everybody. As I learn about different art forms, like comedy, for instance, it's like not everybody likes Jerry Seinfeld. Some people hate the guy. But if he tried to be super generic and liked by everyone, then he would lose his personality and his appeal, So it really is about being ourselves. And ultimately, the tools that I have are not the same tools that other, people who work in this industry do have. Exactly. I feel, like there are some things that I know, but the stuff that I don't know, like, I'm not going to try to pretend like I know it. That's why I bring people in and ask them to do, like we had Vanessa Fernandez teach about the Enneagram. Like, I don't know the Enneagram is super powerful, you know, but like, I don't know it that well, you know, I'm still learning that, you know. He had a Sunil Godse come and talk about intuitionology. Like he's spent a lot of time and, you know, put so much research into understanding human intuition. It's crazy. And it lines up with a lot of the other stuff that we've learned, like the heart and mind and, you know, the esoteric and how all that stuff works and goes together. But like, he's done a really deep dive. So as far as like going really specifically deep on that one topic, it's like, I don't have the tools or resources or knowledge about that. You know, I know the few things that I know, and I'm happy to share those. But when it comes down to it, like putting out a buffet of amazing information that people can kind of pick and choose from, you know, it's like, it's like a Chinese buffet of spiritual mukbang. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, I like that one. It sounds tasty as well.
You just dive deep in the general sows, you know, or whatever it winds up being. And then, you know, whatever it is
I
that
get like a watery, like I get a watery mouth.
Right. Yeah. And that might be the, you know, the more transformative stuff. It might be the more heady kind of stuff. You know, I've talked to a lot of people. Like I'm so excited to have just started connecting with people. That's been really the most enriching part, because like there's so many people who are really on the same page, who are like, you know, I know there's something out there. I know something's going on metaphysically, but I'm all, you know, I'm also pretty grounded, you know. They're like, I'm practical and I live here on earth. Cause there's a lot of people who just kind of blow smoke and repeat what other people say, you know, for instance. And they're like, well, you didn't believe hard enough. And then that's what they use to blame the victim after their program doesn't work, you know. And it's like, ooh, you know, talk about cringy, bro.
You didn't want to change. It's your fault.
You didn't want it bad enough. You didn't desire it enough. It's like, dude, I promise you, I desired it enough. In fact, that was probably the issue, was the amount of desire that I had. That creates resistance. That gets in the way.
Yeah.
We've learned to understand.
But man, you tell me, because obviously, because I was a little busy the past couple of months, so I haven't been really part of your course. I mean, I'm just getting started with the Discord. I mean, hello, we're in the 2021. I'm just getting started with that, but and I was supposed to be the young one.
Well, I had to jump on a lot of the technology, and I really liked Discord just because, you know, you can just you can categorize things by thread.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, we were using Slack before, so I got used to Slack, and then I tried Discord. I think it was probably a couple of years ago when I found out, when I first saw Discord, and we used it a little bit. But I really like using it to implement. And you know, sometimes I feel like we're just running from lifeboat to lifeboat as far as a lot of the tech goes, because, you know, what will happen is, you know, this cool thing will come up, and then, you know, some giant will buy it, right? Like it'll be like Microsoft is going to buy Discord, right? And it's like, well, we're going to go to Mastodon, or we're going to go to but there's more and more, you know, apps that will crop up. And if we have to migrate to the next thing, we migrate to the next thing. I feel like that's just kind of part of it.
Exactly. It's the nature of things.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the nature of things. But I wanted to ask you, what is in the course? Like, what do you do in the course? This is just sorry guys, whoever is watching on YouTube, this is a personal question. I actually don't want to know myself. This is not any promotion. I really want to know myself. Yeah.
So the beginning of it, we really just do a deep dive on exploring what reality is, and then go heavy into, you know, egregorial science, pendulums, energy structures, big time, right? Understanding the things that distract us from our purpose, right? Like, oh, shiny, that looks cool, but that's not really who you are at the shape of your soul, you know, your core. And then we get into purpose, and that's when Sunil talks about intuition. And then we talk about elevating the balance point in the next module, and just understanding that we each have like sort of a ceiling and a floor, and you know, we max out, and then we, you know, we what is it called when like you know, we relapse.
Yeah, the thermostat kicks in, and you start to clear all the decline again.
And then we talk about that floor, and then that's when we get into some of the trauma work. And so Jim Shane, who wrote, I think I've got the book somewhere around here. He wrote the Core Method. He's awesome. He came and talked to us, and just gives a personal method that you can use yourself, that he kind of developed with a lot of different practices that he kind of put them together, and it's really helpful and useful. And that we go into that. So he came and spoke with us. And then we went into critical thinking and logic, understanding the trivium method for deduction, really, and understanding really, that heart and mind, when you look at David Hawkins' consciousness scale, reason's super high. It's like 700. It's like, well, I was like, wow, that's interesting that it's so high. Well, heart and mind aligned, right? Like it makes sense, it's like, oh, well, of course, like things should logically make sense in this third dimensional world, as well as be congruent to our heart. So we go to that, and then we had Vanessa, or actually my friend Lee the Wayfinder taught that. He's a 20-year teacher. Like he's amazing. We met in the autonomy course, and so he hosted that. And then we had Vanessa Fernandez from the Enneagram workshop teach us about the Enneagram and how to use it for purpose. And then we had Mike Nimitz of Ethical Emergence come. He was a project manager in construction. He was in the military, and he came and talked to us about strategy. So coupling strategy, a strong, firm strategy at the end, with also, the pliability and flexibility of obviously knowing transurfing, some of these other methods, reading the signs like the alchemist and omens and understanding that, really, really helpful. Then we had some bonuses too, crypto bonuses. Lisa Manfredi came and talked to us about finances. She's super duper brilliant. She knows how to do some amazing things. And then my friend Sean came and talked about 10-second likability. He's a stand-up comedian. He's actually going to be performing with a bunch of us here soon, here in Georgia at a distillery in Blairsville. And it was really, really powerful. Each week was, just more and more incredible. And I think we all discovered a lot about ourselves and got to know each other. So I'm really excited to officially really bring the course forward and open it up. Like I said, I'm going to do a launch here when I get back from Florida sometime in May. And then for now, if people want to get in, I'm happy to book my calendar solid full of discovery calls until I leave for the beach. And I'll be down there emceeing. I'm doing Moon Crush Festival. It's like, I'm really excited about that because, things are starting to open up again and there's some opportunities, and I'm not sure kind of like how things are going to go in the future, what's going to be required and not, and et cetera. Right. So I'm trying to get out there while I still can, but also, keep building here, on this community. Cause dude, it really has, like, the transformational aspect of it. The information's great. I'm not gonna, because like I said, I brought in people and I will continue to bring people in, such as yourself, and I think Abby is going to do a dream module as well, which is amazing. And, I've talked to a couple other folks who might be willing to do other modules, health, wellness, fitness. And so that way, we continue to build informational stuff around the meat of the course, which is understanding your purpose, understanding your purpose and implementing it and giving all the tools. So there's like a time share, a skill share, a time bank, and those types of tools that people can use and see, I need a designer. Let's see if there's anybody in the sheet who can do that. And then you can reach out to them. And as we continue to working with Lindsay, she's putting together an amazing app called the Better Than Barter app, where people, so kind of what we're doing with the skill sharing and stuff is sort of a little bit beta for that. And so hopefully,
I've heard about that one.
Yeah, I'm stoked about that. It's going to be really, 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 really cool. So, the momentum and the energy in the group is just, it's so uplifting and amazing. And I'm just so excited to be a part of it. Like, I feel like it really has been outer intention guiding this whole process, because I can't really take that much credit for it. You know what I mean? Like, I can take some credit for like just doing the next thing and then doing the next thing, which is all that's required. And the rest is just, as you know, magic.
Oh yeah. This sounds amazing, man. I love that. That's so cool. It sounds like you got a really solid kind of structure over there. I like that.
It was a lot of fun to put together. Lindsay actually was helping. Like, I was sending her videos over Christmas break. I was like putting things together, because at first I didn't know what I was doing. I had really no idea. I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I want to coach again, because I was coaching, doing the transurfing thing for a little while. And I had a few clients that I just did one-on-one. And I thought, oh, I'll just coach one-on-one. And then I talked to Mike Nimitz, who wound up coming and speaking to us about strategy. He has his own
Mhm.
course, Ethical Emergence. He was like, man, I do both. He's like, I do one-on-one and I do group stuff, because like people can key off of each other's success. And I was like, man, that makes so much sense. And then being part of Autonomy, the Autonomy group, which is Richard Grove's course, I learned a lot about how they kind of do their thing. And they also use Discord. And
Mhm.
so understanding a little bit about Discord, and of course, there's a little bit of a learning curve there, but as people kind of get their sea legs with that, it makes really good sense to sort of interface over there. And then there's a server where all the content is, it has all the exercises and all that kind of stuff that's kind of separate. And then we can interface on the chat on the Discord and do things that way. So that's kind of how it's laid out. And
Wow. Man.
yeah, I mean, it just kind of naturally progressed and evolved and living and breathing, and still is, and so that's why I'm
Man.
a little bit careful about, I won't just let anybody in, dude. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I understand, because these are your people. This is your family your family, your best friends right there in those courses, right? They become your best friends. And it's really also like the course itself is kind of like your baby. It's like your child, and you want people who have pure intentions to come into your program. Or I know exactly what you're saying. You want
Yeah,
people with pure intentions, who have that same type of love for and the passion for helping others, for growth, as you do, right?
absolutely. And that's kind of, when I look back, it's like we were in this before one of our sessions, you were like, we owe a great deal of gratitude to, some of these times, these situations in the past that seemed bad. This is bad, right? But it broke my heart when some of these,
Yeah.
like experiencing this stuff, but it also opened my whole world up, and my world really,
Hmm.
was taking care of me. It is taking care of us if we allow it to, right? So that we can
Yeah.
take the next step and take the next step and take the next step and on and on. And that's really what it's
Exactly.
all about, right? And taking those lessons and allowing like a community to form like it has, in a way with no force or like pressure or stress. It's
Hmm.
like, all right, well, we're just going to allow what happens to happen. There's no dictatorial like edicts coming down the pipe, you know what I mean? There's nothing authoritarian about this. It's really all about interfacing, co-creating with the universe.
Except there's one rule. You need to cry.
Have to cry.
Don't cry. Within the first week, you're out.
That's it, dude. Hit the road. I don't trust you.
There's the door.
I do cry a lot, and I realize, like one of the big sort of tips as far as like finding purpose, like understanding that general purpose that we talk about is, sit down and write what you think
Yeah.
it could be for, 30 minutes or an hour. And when you find the thing that makes you cry, that's how right? Like, and I realize some people aren't as cryy as I am. Like I'm
Yeah.
pretty soft. I'm pretty much a soft boy, right? And like
I
a
know what you're
lumberjack.
saying. I do cry a lot myself.
But I found that that's like a really, really, really helpful tool. And that's something that I learned from Steve Pavlina. And, there's other parts of that too. I talk a lot
Hmm.
about purpose and building on top of this like core that's kind of this knowing. It's just, what is spirituality about? Timid Noske, know thyself. And
Yep.
it's kind of like a little peep into the window of the universe's soul that I kind of
Hmm.
caught a glimpse of. And so I've kind of, moved forward with this model, which, as we know, right, the map is not the territory. Everything's a model. And so that's really what we focus on as well. It's like, here's a model, and we can mince words. We can talk, we can call things different things. We don't all have to agree on everything, but we can
Yep.
see from different perspectives and different angles, what it is that we're looking at, and
Yeah.
have
Makes it
different
easier, right?
perspectives. Absolutely. Yeah.
Makes it easier. This is the thing. A lot of people, they try to shit on models and like, there's a model of everything, but it just makes it easy. It makes it easy to grasp because it makes it easy to remember. Maybe there are certain parts that you don't understand or that you don't fully resonate with, but the model, and when you have models, when you have those steps, easy to follow steps, it really makes it easy for you to remember as well. Because if you have a really complex protocol, are you gonna remember that? No.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. Last night I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw an ad for like a book that was like 53 tips to manifest. And I'm like, that's too many.
It's like, hold on a second, let me get my, like, you get your manifesto, and you're like, let me get like page 562. Oh, I remember that.
Right.
And you're reading there, and by the time you're kind of, it's already an hour further. You're with your little monocle like this, and you're.
Oh, what was tip number 37? Oh God, that would come in so handy right now. Then I'd be able to manifest if I just could remember tip number 37. You know, it's like.
And you're like, oh no, as you are, as you're leafing through the book, the whole the 11:11 portal that you just, 11:11 a.m. is done and the new moon is over. Jupiter is out of retrograde, or whatever you used to manifest. Like, oh man, that's why you need models.
I missed one little step.
That is it.
Dang it.
Tip number 36.26. That was it.
Yep. If I would have just done that, my manifesting would have worked out. But unfortunately, I missed that one step out of 57. It's like, geez Louise, man. It's, And
now, according to all those, not to shit on astrologists, but all those astrologists, like, you've missed tip 37, and I have missed the super full new blue moon that was just in retrograde today. Ah, man, I missed it. Oh well, tomorrow there's another super moon.
yeah, I gotta wait for the next new moon to, But no, I mean, I think I love making fun of stuff that I believe in. So just to clarify, right? And there was a while where, especially with the Vedic stuff, I just had a Luna app on my phone.
Yeah.
Tell me what the moon is, because I apparently really watery and really moon centric. Lunacy is the name of the game for me, apparently. So I was keen off that, and I did start to see patterns, but I actually had to intentionally ignore them, because I'd be like, oh well, when it's like, when it's in this spot or whatever, I do feel like funnier, I do feel like more social. It's like, well, I'm booking shows no matter what the phase the moon's in. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I got to get up there and just do it anyway. So
yeah,
instead of like trying to coordinate all of that, which it can be really helpful, but
it can be, but especially for us dudes, it's it has much less of an impact, since, well, let's address the elephant in the room of of when we're talking about genders, because when we're talking about women, they naturally have a cycle that is literally the same length, more or less, as a moon cycle.
Yeah.
And I mean, we as men don't have that. We are much more outward focused, and for women it might actually be okay to be a little bit aware of it, but especially as men, this is my particular belief, and what I've seen is that I do better if I just focus on my masculine energy and really focus on that, on the outward, and not really get too hung up on trying to find the right moment and trying to go into too much of that astrology. It's interesting for me as well. I mean, I use it as a tool, and I hope that you're trying to get what I'm saying, because I think I'm missing.
No, I understand what you're saying. There's nothing wrong with that. It's okay.
That's what I'm trying to say.
There's not enough masculine energy in the world, dude. Frankly, like, there needs to be more, and it's okay to be masculine. It
is.
Push gender aside, whatever. Like, however you identify is totally fine. Obviously, right? We're not here to talk about that. I've got some jokes about it, but those will have to come out, not on another podcast. But like, there's nothing wrong with focusing on developing your masculinity. In fact, I think that's a really, really wise thing to do as someone, who's a man or identifies masculine. Like, that's something that for me has taken a lot of focus on, frankly. Like, I've had to do a lot of work on that, because growing up as a kid, we go through the school system. Most of my teachers were female. I didn't have a lot of male role models. I just didn't have that. And so, for me, and everybody's different, but for me, it's taken a lot of intention to understand what, true masculinity is. Because if you read a book like The Way of the Superior Man, are you familiar with that book?
Oh my God, I love that book.
Such a good book. Yeah.
Oh, it's such an amazing book. I've been recommending it to a lot of people.
Yeah,
who are struggling with this.
David Data's amazing. Like his work is top drawer. Yeah, excellent. It's really,
Yeah.
really, really helpful. And a lot of the purpose stuff is really a part of that masculine aspect, right? Like that he talks about, like, you know, the masculine is really wants to be free and the feminine wants to be full, right? And so like understanding that purpose too from concentric circles. I made an exclusive video for folks on the email list and in the Facebook group and stuff like that earlier this week, where I talked about one book called The One Thing, and that's really about getting centered about your purpose and what you're trying to do, right?
Oh,
Like
yeah, I saw that email.
Yeah, everything should kind of like sort of come back to that, you know, like it obviously won't always, but if you can link it all back to it, and also recreation is part of that, right? But like if everything is kind of coming back to that one thing, then man, you are like, you're crushing, right? And then understanding, I took it straight from David Data, the concentric circles, getting to your deeper and deeper purpose, like and moving toward your fear, you know. Like that is really what being masculine and is all about, is like really purpose driven and focused. And like you said, out here, like the feminine wins. So, I mean, our goose is cooked. So, you know, we need to understand that and then do it anyway. Like feel the fear, do it anyway, go along our purpose and just allow our hearts to be ripped out and eaten.
Yeah.
Right. No big deal.
Because that's the beauty of it. And this is, I was talking with, I am not sure who I was talking with. One of the beautiful people that I work with, about, we were talking about a heart that is shattered, about along the way that her heart got shattered. And we talked about how amazing it is, how powerful it actually is to have your heart shattered, and yet to have that pain, to meet that pain. Because, and she used the example, she came up with the example of the Japanese who when like one of their bowls or a cup breaks, they don't throw it away, they glue it together with this golden clay in between, so that it has a special color in between, so that it's made back together, the pieces into this, with all, and the break lines are all made into this, really like are kind of highlighted, so to say. So just as, and to symbolize that actually the breaking of the cup doesn't make it worse, it makes it more beautiful. And that's what happens when you lean into that pain, because the first reaction that we have when we feel pain, and oh my God, how guilty I am of doing this myself so often. When something hurts me, the first reaction that we have is like, ugh, I'm closing up, my walls are up, I'm not dealing with this. But when you lean into that pain and you feel it, yeah, it sucks for a little bit, but there's so much power in that, because when you lean into that, oh my God, there is so much power, because there's lessons there. There is growth to be made there. I mean, so much growth. I mean, you know how you've gone through this. Such a huge heartache, just a year and a half, 2 years ago by now. I don't know exactly the time frame anymore, but
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And you've gone through the heartache, but has it made you a stronger person? Hell yeah, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that's beautiful that you can see the cracks, you know.
Yeah.
I think our heart expands after something like that.
Yeah.
And like you said, you know, if we can lean into that, and fortunately, only because I knew I should, did I, right?
Yes.
Had I not known that was the move, then I might have gotten bitter and upset and you know, ultimately put myself in a much worse situation. But even though it hurt, I knew that I needed to continue to move forward regardless. And ultimately, like, it's been incredible, the experience from there. But like opening up into that pain, like instead of resisting it, is
it's a conscious, brave, like it's a really brave choice that you're making for yourself. It's like a very courageous choice that you're making, but it is a choice that you're making, and you made a very deliberate choice to do that. And that's the power, because you probably talk about this as well, but every situation that happens is empty. Every situation that happens is empty. Did you write that in your last email? I'm not sure if you wrote that.
I don't think so. No.
No. Okay. It wasn't one of the emails that I read. Well, every situation is empty. The only meaning that it has is the meaning that you give to it. And if you could have taken that moment easily, that you were kind of betrayed, that you were shitted on, and that your heart was broken, you could have easily taken that moment. How many people take that moment and say, and point to that moment, that is the time when I was broken, and that's the reason why I'm so fucked up right now.
Yeah.
Excuse my French.
Oh, please. Parlez-vous français? You know? Le
Oh,
papillon, you know? I mean, le combattant, whatever. Those are all the only three things in French. Oh, yeah, molon labe. That's the only other thing that I know in French.
oui, oui.
Oui, oui.
Oui, oui. I'll not make jokes in French right now, because if there's anyone French listening to me right now, they're gonna go like, oh my god.
Oh, no. My audience is American simpletons, right? Like we don't get those types of jokes, right? We don't know what you're talking about, bro.
Just for that one French person, you never know.
That's fair. I actually did meet
Well,
a French person
anyways,
this week who was amazing.
probably false funny for them if you make the joke.
No.
To be honest, they'll be like, oh my god, here comes one of those Americans again, but that makes it funny.
Yeah, just self-deprecate. Come back to the America thing.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what I was saying is that so often do we make this choice to make that the reason, like, that thing, I mean, that painful situation, we make that the reason of all of our pain that happened in our life. It's because of him or her or that situation that my life went to shit. But you made that choice to say, I'm going to lean into this. And you actually use this situation as a source of power. Because, I mean, what did you get out of that situation?
I mean, a lot. I mean, I didn't
Right?
use it as a source of power. I was very, very weak, but I knew, right? Like I did lean into it.
Yeah.
I wasn't really consciously using it as a source of power. I was just like, all right, well, let's hope to God this works.
Right?
Because
It's like, God, you better catch me because I'm falling.
Yeah.
And that's scary. But I mean, this is exactly, you learned that time that you wanted to do a group. And if you were going to do a group, you're going to make it a great group. And even if that was the only lesson, I know that there's hundreds of other lessons that came from that, but even if that was the only lesson she took from that led to your coaching group right now. I mean, that's super powerful.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I can't even begin to say the experiences that I've had, even just leading up to now. And now with the group and the community, it's just like a rocket ship. But even before that, like I was working on all these cruise ships, and I was on the Impractical Jokers cruise doing stand-up with people who have Netflix specials. I had no business on paper being in that position. I had no business really being on stage with Gene Simmons, I emceed a guitar pick throwing contest with him. He's good. He's really good at throwing picks. Shocker, right? I got the opportunity to do that. And it was only because of just staying open, right? Like had I closed, and I got more and more opportunities. I worked on Netflix shows and all these types of things. And those were all great. And frankly, they were better than what I could have asked for. And so I guess that's my point here is when we do open, even in those disparaging moments, when we feel like the world is falling apart and we're like, all right, it feels like it's falling apart. This really seems like it sucks right now. And it's okay to admit that it's tough and it's not easy and it's hard. That's okay. There's a nuance there where I think a lot of people simplify it and they're like, well, it's good because it happened, so you have to choose that it's good. It's like, no. There's the seed for positive and there's the seed for negative choice. One of those situations, and we choose. We can choose to constrict or we can choose to expand in those moments and say, I don't know what it is, I don't know where it is, but I know there can be an advantage here and I'm going to look for it actively, whatever that is.
Exactly. It's like exactly. Thank you for saying that. I mean, it's so true because right now, and it's also so good to remember that, you're totally allowed to feel this pain.
Absolutely.
It's not like when something like this happens. I mean, like the global situation that we find ourselves in right now. Of course. I mean, how many times have I felt lost and have I felt like, oh my God, there is like this is like the despair. Like, what? First of all, how can people be so stupid? Or
Right. Yeah.
how can, like, what's going on? And then despair of like, oh my God, this is never going to work. Like, we're not gonna get out of this.
Right.
And then, but then that's okay that you feel that way. But then you still get to make a new choice. It doesn't have to be your choice. And then you can realize, it's okay to feel these feelings, lean into them, and make a different choice.
Yeah. Some of the things that have happened, like when this thing first went down, I was like, oh, dude, I was so depressed. I put on like 25 pounds with just crushing ice cream in the afternoon in sweatpants, like most of the rest of the country. Like most people were kind of in that frame. They were like watching, what was that show that was on Netflix, the Tiger King or something?
The Tiger King.
Yeah. That was really popular at that time, I remember, but I was really bummed out, and it took me until really the summer where I started to kind of get my poop in a group and finally, started making connections with people, because that's really kind of what happened. That was the positive thing that was really found from it, is that I started, instead of working with people that I really didn't know or had nothing in common with, or not as much, I started really connecting with people who had similar values. And so the communities really started to build up, and they really are continuing to form. These communities over here and these communities over here are really starting to bridge, and it's amazing. So like, there's a lot of people that I don't think I would have had the opportunity to meet had it not been for this. And so now we are connected. And I think there's a lot of strength, right? And the power in numbers and connecting with people who share values and all of that. So that's been a huge positive change from all of this, and amidst the dumpster fire in the background and how stupid people can be. Like it is shocking to me how incredibly, even people that I really kind of looked up to and thought a great deal of, and still do. I haven't lost respect for them. I just don't understand their decision-making process, their logic, so to speak. And I'm talking about family members. I mean, people who are really close, still have ultimately tons of respect and nothing but love and adoration, but I still don't quite understand their logic, let's say.
Yeah, it's kind of, there's moments where you're like, how, what, huh? Like, huh? And they're saying something and you're going, oh, interesting, yeah. You kind of like, you find yourself like, hey, okay, well, it is indeed really nice weather outside.
That's right. Yeah, my whole set tonight is going to be anti-science. You know what I mean? Like, that's where I'm going.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm going that direction, but I'm having a lot of fun with it, because I feel like I can just exaggerate it, right? And then
of course,
and just play.
I mean, it's a great source for comedy, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
It's a gold mine.
Yeah, absolutely, it is.
I mean, if you look at people who are taking this situation right now, I mean, people like JP Sears comes to mind right now. He's taking this as it's a gold mine for him. He just takes everything that is dumb and stupid that happens, and
absolutely. Ryan Long, JP Sears, Pella, those guys are all so funny, and they do such a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they also know, they're like, dude, I'm not going to go sign up to be part of some network where you tell me what I can and can't say. They're like, dude, I'm building my own, kind of thing, and I'm keen off that as well, because there's no reason not to do that. Like, why do you want to be in a position where somebody else is going to tell you what you can or can't say, or what sketch you can put out or not put out? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, exactly.
It's been a very empowering time for people to really take their own power back.
Exactly. And I mean, for me, that's been my experience as well with this. When this whole thing started, I don't know if we talked about it since we started, but when it started, I was in Egypt when it started. I was on vacation. That was crazy when this all went down, and it was even a question if I would be able to return back to Ukraine where we lived. And but when this all started, I immediately got the sense I need to get a community together, and that's what saved me and what really got me going, because I felt such a connection with people when we started talking about this, and we started connecting about all of these different ideologies that came up with people that showed up. with like people that had the similar values started really finding each other all of a sudden.
Mhm.
And these communities started forming. That was really what helped me, what really catapulted me in a lot of growth, to do these groups, to form communities, to do more coaching. Because some of you guys watching right now, I know that Abby watching right now, she was in one of the first groups that we did. We called it the Love Group. I mean, oh yeah, you were in there as well.
I was in one of those. I don't know if it was the first one that you did, but I loved that group. It was great. Yeah.
Right?
It was beautiful. Yeah.
That was purely that purely came out of this whole situation, out of this, the whole I don't even want to give it a name, the whole situation right now.
Yeah. I needed that. Like,
Yeah.
it was powerful because it helped us all be accountable and just send love to each other. It's very powerful. It's simple, but that doesn't mean it's not effective. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Definitely. And it really helped also to get kind of the momentum towards love going for everyone, to kind of to refocus, to say it's okay that you're feeling this, but to give some tools and to refocus. It was well, on a side note, I do want to say that if there would have been Ben and Jerry's here in Ukraine, I would have gained a bunch of weight. But sadly, there is no Ben and Jerry's here in Ukraine. Otherwise, I would have gone bananas on those vegan Ben and Jerry's. Because if there is one weakness that I have, it's Ben and Jerry's. I mean, when we go to the Netherlands or Europe, for that matter, watch out.
Dude, that's awesome.
I'm the guy sitting in front of the television watching with my ice cream, not even making to the television, by the way. It's gone before that. Before we even start Netflix, it's gone.
I know how that goes, dude. That's so funny.
But all jokes aside, well, no, never put the jokes aside, but
Right.
It was honestly, this whole situation for me has been actually quite positive, because I guess that's the choice I made out of it. It really helped me to empower myself and through that empower others, because that's the biggest thing, right? When I empower myself, when I step up to that power, when I step up to this love, I'm able to help others as well. That has been so beautiful.
And dude, you do such a great job. I want to get back to that. I feel like I'm not trying to just like be over here plugging what I've done. I really want to showcase your talents and where you've been.
I asked. I wanted to know.
That's fair. No, I appreciate it. Thank you. But yeah, I really want to talk about the work that you do, and because it is incredibly powerful and needed. And I think there's not enough people really at this point doing this type of work. There should be more and more, like, because honestly, I think that the whole world is practically in a state of collective trauma at this point.
Oh yeah.
You know? Like, everyone's so afraid and full of fear. And I mean, you can't see if somebody's smiling at you, you know what I mean? Or if they're frowning at you. We're not picking up on the subtle cues, you know, and smell, you know, and all these other senses. And a lot of people say we have more than 5 senses. We have, you know, 12. I've heard 12 senses. You know, and I don't know what they all are, but I know there are definitely subtle social cues that we cue off of. And, you know, some of those were missing at this point, you know, and people are listening to the news all day and it's just pumping fear into their minds.
Yes.
So they're kind of like just frozen, and their nervous system is in, you know, fight or flight at best. You know, it might be in dorsal vagal, which is just like, just like completely stiff, you know?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes. It's been, that's what I've seen. This is such an, because this is, so many people are living in fear right now, because you're put in a situation where you have to face yourself right now. You have to face yourself. And that's what happens right now with all these people. They have to start looking at their own stuff. They have to start looking at their own, all of a sudden they don't get to distract, because I mean, everything's closed in most of the states. I don't know how it is in Georgia, but for a long time, I think everything was closed. You can look at people. So all of a sudden, all the energy turns inwards. That's a scary thing. Because all of a sudden your energy starts, your subconscious mind is like, oh, we have some space. What do I do with this space? Oh, I know, we're going to do some cleaning. And before you know it, your subconscious mind is like, oh, what is in this basement? Ooh, what smells? What's been going on here, dude? And the rug, the nice pony, unicorn fart cloud rug that you put over it to hide the smell and hide that there even is a basement. That the trap door that leads to the basement is like, and all of a sudden, ooh, this rug is it's pulled away.
Mm-hmm.
What is underneath here? And you go in there. Well, and let me know. Let me tell you, there are some skeletons in that closet.
Mm-hmm.
There is a pile of shit laying there. Maybe a bunch of those.
Yeah, for sure.
And you're all of a sudden going like, oh, that's why I felt so terrible all these years. Or you're not even aware yet. You're not even. There's so much that you don't even know what's going on. But all of a sudden, what I'm trying to say is that all of a sudden, all this energy goes there, and we're confronted with this. We're confronted with this right now. Right there, we're pressed into our own to face our own stuff that we're dealing with. All of a sudden, it's magnified because there is no other way we can go. We can't. Most of us really can't travel anywhere for
Right.
too many places. I mean, you can travel inside your own state, country, but that starts to bore at some point, right? And
That's
then
exactly right. Yeah.
all of a sudden, it's time to heal. So that's why this time is so powerful for healing. I mean, I see this with so many people because you're triggered. You get triggered, and because of those triggers, actually super helpful because when you start diving into those, you start healing the trauma, start healing the emotion, you start diving into them. There's so much growth that can be released from there. That is powerful, in my opinion.
It is powerful, and that's why I really appreciate the work that you do. A lot of people, for instance, transurfing, it's like drop importance, drop importance, drop importance. Well, a lot of the importance or limiting beliefs or these limitations that we have are from trauma, are from not doing the shadow work. And while that book gives an amazing overview, it doesn't go in depth on how. It's like, well, just drop importance. Well, some of us aren't sociopaths, you know what I mean? So like dropping importance on everything is not just the only, solution, right? Like you have to let that stuff go. There's things that we've experienced much, much younger in life that we don't even realize have affected us. It's like, I'm happy to talk about my experience with you. I was talking about, and this is kind of how I learned that one of my gifts was to become kind of funny because I was cheering my mom up a lot. We went back to a scene where I had gotten a bag of Reese's Pieces candy when I was maybe 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah.
And I opened up the candy and it went everywhere. Yeah, just went everywhere. And so that was a really, I don't know why, but I imprinted something at that stage of my life. And we worked through that. And it was really powerful working with you on that because I changed my relationship to that. It's kind of like you were saying earlier. It's like we are here in the situation. It is basically neutral, right? It's benign, as my friend James says, right? James Thomas is like, man, he loves to talk about our relationship to stuff and the distortion between expectation and reality, right? And so, in those, we basically, like Robert Anton Wilson says, we create the meaning around most of the things that happen to us. We tell the story. That's our power that we have. And most of the time, we aren't even aware that we're telling ourselves a story. We're just creating the story. And now we have this emotional hurt, this attachment.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was, I mean, dude, that was such a great session. And after doing that, like I felt so much more clear and free, because really what I was struggling with is like being nervous going on stage, and feeling like, I might fail and what that felt like, because in the moment when that happened, my mom was not happy that I had spilled the Reese's Pieces all over the floor. Right. Even though how minuscule, right. We should have been rolling around in the Reese's Pieces and throwing them up like we were in Scrooge McDuck's money bank,
Exactly.
But instead I was in trouble for spoiling the snack that I so badly wanted and wanted to even eat off the floor. She just finished cleaning the floor. Your house is clean. Your floor is clean enough to eat off. Let me eat off. You know, it doesn't make sense, Ma. Come on. But yeah, what's funny, she probably wouldn't even remember that, right?
Yeah.
And so we worked through that as well. You know, we talked about like, and I think there's so much power in sort of returning to a past version of yourself.
Yes.
Wow. Holy
Yes.
shit. Whew.
That is so powerful because, you know, this is also to hook into that kind of the point where you were saying, oftentimes we don't even know and realize that we've given this meaning to this whole situation, that's how we're thinking right now. It's because, well, how old were you then? Like 6, 7?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I was probably
5,
younger
4?
than that. Yeah.
Yeah, young, right? In your very early stages where as a child something happens and without realizing you give this meaning to it because you need to. You need to as a child, and it's a very subconscious way of doing it. You model your mom, you model what you're seeing, you give this meaning to the situation because, well, you need to live, you need to survive. So that's what's necessary. You need to give a meaning to it. Otherwise you would have not really survived very well. If you would have, you needed to do that because you needed to protect yourself. You needed to do all of these things in order to protect yourself, to survive. So it was a natural reaction. Some people do the opposite, right? They take this moment and they make something positive out of it and they believe something positive, but it still comes from the same moment and they'll get problems out of it from it in different areas. And for example, you took the meaning you needed to become a comedian, right? It's like for you, it was in the same exact area, both a blessing and a curse.
Mm-hmm.
Where on the one hand, it was your source of, being funny, being able to make people laugh, being able to enjoy and entertain people. But on the other side, it was also the source of your nervousness on stage
and pain, like just the pain of like seeing my mom suffer. Really, and like try to cheer her up. And so that's kind of where that whole thing derived from. And my mom has a great sense of humor. I'm very fortunate there. And sometimes some of that stuff kind of came at the expense of my sister. Sorry. But but ultimately, yeah. But ultimately, it was a tool that I used to cope. And so that is something that I developed as a skill. And I was in Jessa Reed's group one day, and I can't remember who posted this, but they were like, "Did you have a bad childhood, or did you have a?" No, I'm sorry. I don't want to butcher the quote, but somebody had asked this question. They were like, "Did you have a good childhood, or are you funny?" Like it's kind of. And obviously you can have a good childhood, I think, and still have a great sense of humor. But a lot of people who go into comedy, the only validation that they get from the outside world is that they can make people laugh. Yeah. And, obviously there's a healthy balance. You don't have to be miserable to be funny. You don't have to be, that's something I think is like a really bad limiting belief in any art.
Exactly.
People
think how many people do we know that make jokes about themselves? Mm-hmm. And it's kind of self-destructive. It's still funny, but it's still self-destructive to kind of, to mask that. But do continue.
Yeah, no, dude, going away from self-deprecating humor, huge difference in my psyche. Just resolving the two worlds of like, positivity and spirituality, and then comedy, because comedy really does focus on what's wrong with the world, right? Mm-hmm. And then spirituality is really about shifting our focus to what's positive. And so like bringing those worlds together, that is not an easy task.
It is not really, but it's tricky. Yeah, it can be super tricky because it's a really fine line that you're walking by, either trying to preach too much or trying to be too funny in those kind of moments, because it's a really fine line. It's an art form, really.
Yeah, because you have to be honest, and that's really what connects, I think, with people. And a lot of the stuff in the spiritual community can be very shallow and surface level. A lot of the
very heavy energy they have.
Yeah, and they hide that stuff, right? And it's buried. So you have this like, you have this like compulsion to share and like let this thing out, but you're also afraid, right? Because you've got to be this person or this guru who has no blemishes and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, dude, that's never going to work,
Exactly. Let me be the first to tell you that I do help people with amazing results, but I'll be the first to tell you that I have my own stuff going on.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was talking to Abby about limiting beliefs, and it's like, we all have them. We all do. you know?
And it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that you have that there's something wrong with you. It means that you're a fucking human being.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that, and that's why that's one of the things that I think is super toxic about the whole community of like spirituality, which was previously called the woke community. Now it's called spiritual community.
Yeah. Yeah.
You remember how like just 2 years ago, everyone was like, I'm so woke, I'm too woke for my for the people, and now that if you're talking about chakras, the truth community, they call it themselves woke, and now all of a sudden the whole wokeness is different. It's, I mean, whatever you want to call it. I mean, that's a whole nother rabbit hole that you want to go into.
Oh God, yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, that's so funny.
I mean, remember how many people used to say, I'm woke as fuck, dude.
Yeah.
I'm woke. Like I can't deal with my family. Like they're the normies. They're not woke. I'm woke.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, woke is a bad thing.
Yeah.
Right? Woke is the thing that you don't want to be.
Well, it's the sort of like super progressive left at this point has taken that flag, and now that's their sort of, or at least that's how people are referring to them. I don't know if they would associate themselves that way, but
that's what it is. It's a game of capture the flag.
Yeah. That's
yes.
Right. That's exactly right. But
I'm woke. No, I am woke. This is what I am. Deal with it. Now I'm the one who's woke.
Yeah. But now I feel like you got to join Antifa if you're woke. You know what I'm saying? Like it's come to that point.
Man. I mean, but coming back to the spiritual community, how often do you see people that are trying to so hard? I mean, bless their souls to try to be this positive person. I mean, because that's what they think that they have to be, and they try to with all their might to try to be positive. And there's nothing wrong with being a positive person, nothing at all. It's great if you're able to genuinely be that person. I mean, that's amazing. How amazing, you probably know a person like that's just so positive that you just want to be with them because they're genuinely positive. But there's also those who feel like it's fake. Yeah. And you feel it because they have so much stuff going on, but they're trying to repress it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and that's so many people think that they should repress it, and that it shouldn't, that they should, for some reason, they shouldn't do it. And I mean, I feel so much compassion for those people because what they need is a big hug and tell them, and someone needs to tell them.
Let it out. They need to cry. They need to do a session with you, you're streaming down their face, after the session, and they let that stuff go. Cause that's really, I think, what happens, right? They're like, oh, I have to be positive. I had 2 days this week where I was just kind of like, and I was watching a Ken Wilber video, and he was talking about sort of illumination versus growth, right? Mm-hmm. And so to go back to like David Hawkins' map of consciousness model, it's like, we're kind of inching our way up overall through these levels of consciousness. But, we can have these peaks, where we were like, boom, I'm woke for a second. Like I'm having a woke day, vis-a-vis a couple of years ago, right? Like, you're walking around and you really do feel compassion. You feel connection to the
yes,
right? And those days are amazing. It's like walking on sunshine. And then the next day, though, you may have like, you may not be quite there, or you may have an ayahuasca experience or something like that. Up, you're just like, I am everything that exists and all part of eternity. I am nothing and no one and everything at the same time. And, everything was, is like sort of like vibrating through you. And then the next day you got to wash the dishes and cut the grass and do those types of things.
You're like, oh my God, I'm not ready for this.
You got to come back to
this. Oh my God. And it's like, why would I need to wash the dishes? This is beneath me.
That's right.
But indeed, like it's like the stock market almost, right? It goes up and down.
Yeah, but overall, right? Like you can see, it's like this. But overall, we are moving up a little bit incrementally every single day. And so, like, I have 2 days where I'm sort of like, I'm just bleh. And dude, I have to just give myself that time, because if I pretend like I'm not blah, then I'm doing that suppression thing. And I probably just need some rest. My body's tired. I'm working hard, whatever it is. Give yourself that self-care. Like that's the sort of thing that's really and it's important.
It is.
And then the next day I caught a wave of inspiration and I'm like, oh, awesome. I mean, and I don't sit around and wait on the wave of inspiration. I'm not saying to do that. You got to continue to move forward as best you can.
Exactly.
But allow yourself, the freedom to feel the feelings that you feel. You're not wrong for, having a difficult day or being bummed out about something. That's okay. And overall,
human.
Exactly. And then overall, there's trauma there, that's probably just being, re-injured over and over and over again. And we can start to pull those out. And with those come those limiting beliefs. Now we can like elevate that floor and ceiling, and then all of a sudden we're allowing better into our life as a result of that.
Yes, exactly. That's the whole point, right? By slowly, you're making this progress step by step, realizing that everything that happens is just a step on the way, and it doesn't matter. There's no judgment there. If you feel shitty, that's okay. Feel it, and then start looking into it, and just go into it. How can I grow through this? How can I use this to my advantage? And sometimes you just need to feel it, lay there, eat, get your Ben and Jerry's and lay on the couch, watch a Netflix series, binge something, and sometimes you'll feel that. Sometimes you do need to jump up and like, let's go, let's do it, and get your pump yourself out of it. But it's all dependent on what you need at that moment and how you can change it. Because this is also what I do a lot. Sometimes you need to heal, right? Sometimes you need to heal. Oftentimes, other times, this is what I've done. I've done so many healings on procrastination and on not being able to do the routine tasks. But at some point, you've done so many healings that you can heal until the cows come home. And then it is time to get your lazy ass off the couch and start doing your shit.
Yeah. Well, that's why, absolutely, man. That's why I focus so much on purpose and that one thing. It's like, if you know what you need to be doing, and that might be more than one thing. It doesn't necessarily have to be just one, but like, it could be a couple things. I wouldn't juggle too much, but it's like, dude, if you don't have the motivation, that ain't your thing. It's just
exactly,
your heart's telling you no.
Exactly. And if you have to keep on pushing yourself, even after you've tried, if you've given it an honest month or so of pushing yourself and really trying to make it work and really doing it, and if you really feel like if it's really still taking all this energy, then maybe it's a time to rethink. And that's the nature of this whole thing. It's okay to chase something for a month and thinking that it's the right thing. And maybe that is the right thing for just a month. Maybe it is the right thing for a half a year. And through that, you find the next layer. Maybe it's, maybe you don't reach any material stuff with it, but it was necessary for you to pursue, because through that, you found your next purpose.
That's exactly right. I had a call with somebody and they were like, my heart's not always right. It's been wrong. And I was like, well. Have you read The Alchemist? Because he's following the omens and the signs in the universe, and he winds up, in this place, and he finds what he's looking for. And ultimately he's like, why didn't you just tell me it was there the whole time? And he's like, well, if I would have told you, you wouldn't have had all these incredible experiences. And
exactly. And it's like,
try new things.
Exactly. You have to keep following those things. And even though your heart leads you down a path that you feel later on like, oh my God, it was such a wrong decision, but that path opened up something completely new that would not have been possible if you would not have taken that path.
Yep. The universe knows what it's doing.
Yes, and your heart knows what it's doing.
Yeah. And we're always trying to outsmart it, with the 5% of our awareness that is the conscious mind, is we're like, oh, I'll figure this out. Give me a calculator. It's like, no, bro, that's not how it works. You have to take the next step and the next step and the next step. And that's really what it's all about. And having a great strategy is a smart thing, but being completely limited by that strategy, now you've placed yourself in a box.
Exactly.
It's kind of attacking on on all angles. It's like, I've got this great strategy. I also know that the universe is going to show me and light up my path. I'm going to take the next step, but ultimately listen to your heart. If it's like, nah, I'm not feeling this. It's like, I was bartending for 7 years, and one day my heart just said, man, you gotta stop doing this. I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea. It was a very secure income for me. But I literally, like, somebody would come into the bar and I would just be like just a dead mannequin robot. I had no life in me anymore. My heart had just given up on that particular job, and at that point I was like, I got to do something else. I don't know what it is, but I can't do this anymore, So that's okay. It's scary.
It is.
But, we have to do that.
It is scary, but that's the whole point of this that's also the nature of what I'm doing with the work that I'm doing. It is scary, man. It is scary to go through your trauma. I mean, you're facing all the traumas that have been dragging you down your whole life. That is some scary shit, and I really applaud everyone. I mean, even if you're admitting, I don't know, I get comments all the time on when I do lives on Instagram, people that just speak out about certain things, and I just applaud you for just already admitting it to yourself, because you're doing amazing. And I'm speaking to everyone right now who's listening. It's okay. It's already great that you're realizing that this is happening, and that you're realizing this, and that you're already having a look at it. Just having a teeny tiny look at it, that's already super amazing. That you're so powerful for already making it to this point. I'm speaking directly to you guys, because there's nothing wrong with you. It's amazing what you're doing, and I think you're on the right path. And it is scary. It is so scary. It can be. Some people are like, oh yeah, let's do it. I have those as well that are diving in, but let those aside. Most people are like, this is scary shit.
Yeah.
And even people that are jumping in, let's go, let's do it. Yeah, but when we actually get to the root of these things, everyone is like, oh, no, I don't want to go there. But when you do go there and you go through those situations, you see where it comes from, you go through these traumas, you go through these emotions. Yeah, it sucks for a little bit. It hurts for a little bit, but and it feels like you're being dragged through mud. But on the other side, oh my God, you feel so good. I guess this is the thing that with healing, that a lot of people have a little bit of a wrong image of that. It feels like they want to have it, like they feel like it's all butterflies, and that's what it makes out to be. Like, I'm doing some sort of chanting for you, and I'm making some movements with my hands, and your problems are all solved, and that's it, done. My experience has shown is that it is nitty gritty, slimy, gory, like dirty work. We're getting down into it. But when you do that, you gain so much spiritual power, so much mental power, so much emotional strength, so much emotional power. It is crazy, because when you go through that and we get out, and we do get out at the other end, and you change those meanings, and you change those beliefs, and you make friends with your inner child. Oh my God, by the end of it, you feel so much better. And all of a sudden, this situation that made you feel so broken, all of a sudden, you meant that all these pieces of your soul are mended back together with this beautiful new paint. And all of a sudden, instead of looking at those scars that you have on your arm and saying, oh my God, this was such a painful, this is exactly why, blah, blah, blah. Now you say, showing the scar, and you're saying, look, this is why I'm doing so well. This is why I'm so strong right now. It's like a badge of honor. Like, yeah, I went through that.
Yeah.
I did that.
That's right.
I mean, you, for yourself, you went through that, and it's brought you so much good stuff.
Yeah. And I think that, like, that's why I'm like hanging out on the soapbox of purpose, is because I can help people go through what I went through. And a lot of the things that we've experienced and encountered, and you'll hear this all over the place because it's true. A lot of the things and difficulties that we've had, that's the gift that we can give to other people.
Yeah.
And, it's through experiencing that, even though it sucked in the moment, but it's like you said, a scar, right? It's like when the trauma happens, it's a scab. And most traditional therapy, in my opinion, is like, oh, let's rip this thing off. Let's rip it off again next week. See you next week. Oh, hour's up. You know,
exactly.
Like there's some gauze and Kleenex on the way out. Get the fuck out, you know, of my office.
Don't forget to pay on the way out as well, by the way.
That's right. That'll be $175 for the hour. And then you're like, well, all I did was just re-injure my trauma. And it's like, man, that hurt, you know? But if you can heal, you know, and you have the tools, you know, the tools are out there, you can heal, you can let that go. And then at that point, that's often a very, very big key to understanding your purpose and even your function, which I differentiate the two things. Like we have roles and functions in society. Like I was a bartender for 7 years. That wasn't my purpose. But, you know, understanding that and being able to help other people who are maybe having some of the same struggles that you had prior, solving that problem and helping them, you know, that's what it's been, you know, for me. And going through that, it was truly a gift. And in the moment, it wasn't easy. I didn't want to face it, you know, but it is part of the process. And who knows what's going to happen in the future. I could, you know, encounter some other crazy situation, and I'm sure we will. We've seen this year that there's some crazy shit going on. So, you know, keeping that awareness too in the back of our mind that, hey, I've been through something similar. This is difficult, yes, but I've done it before, you know, keeping that. And like you said, anyone who's listening to this show, that your awareness is the light.
Yes.
You are putting that light on this. You are acknowledging it. You're seeing it. That's huge. You don't really even, you think it's a little bit. No, it's a big thing. That's huge.
Yes. It is huge. It is huge. Because when you start focusing on it and you start placing your awareness on actually what's going on, that already in itself has such a huge effect, because you see already those things those negative patterns, those limiting patterns, and those traumas, those emotions, you're just by looking at them, you're getting ideas like, wait a second, that's not who I want to be. And just by thinking that, you're already making a huge change, because you're making that moment, you're making a choice. And that's the power. When you make a choice and you make a decision, it is so freaking powerful.
It is.
It really is.
It is, man. And that's why I really appreciate you and what you do so much. It's such a gift, and it's so incredibly helpful to people. You know, I can't recommend highly enough. I've referred a few people your way, and I have yet to hear any complaints. So like, I do have your Instagram link in the description, and folks want to hit people up, hit Ralph up, definitely do so. The link's down there in the description, and
please do.
Yeah, man. I mean, I've had an incredible experience working with you, and I'm excited to learn more about, you know, administering or being a guide myself, and other people who would be interested in that too. And that's something I think we should talk about and push the ball forward on in the future.
I think, honestly, first of all, I would love to show you, because I know you have lots of talent for that. So I'm already excited to see what you can do with these tools. And second of all, if you want to reach out, please do. You can also always just ask a question, just start a conversation. I'm not here to be scary. I'm not here to be an authority over you. No, I'm coming to you as a friend. I'm here to be a friend for you through these times, because that's the way forward, right? I see people who try to be authoritative, and it doesn't work. We already discussed it in the very beginning of this podcast. It doesn't work to be authoritative on something. It works so much better when you talk to someone as an actual human being, as a friend, as a peer, versus to someone as someone lower than you. I'm not here as arrogant to tell you that what you're doing is wrong, and you need to change, and I'm here to help you, and I'm who knows everything best. No, I'm coming here as a friend. I'm also on my journey. We're all on our journey, and I get to help you. That's amazing. That is just amazing. And if I get to help you, chances are we're going to co-create something super beautiful, because the more I help you, the more I help myself. And that's the name of the game. The more we help each other, the more we help ourselves. I mean, beautiful things happen when we create together a beautiful healing journey. So yeah, it's a journey of friendship. And I can honestly say everyone that I work with, everyone that I've ever worked with, is I still am in contact with them to this day. They become really good friends with me. So that's the name of the game, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're peers. We're in this together. We want to see
Yeah.
each other grow and expand and do better. And so I just put because I'm not signed into Instagram on this computer, I put Ralph's Facebook profile in the chat. So if anybody wants to friend him up on
Yes.
Facebook, that's another way. But I'll make sure all the links are in the description. I believe your Instagram links in the description. It is. And then I'll put some more links as well, once this show's all wrapped up. But I want to make the same, offer to everybody and say, I'm available too. Hit me up.
Yeah.
If you don't wind up working with me, I'm not going to be mad. I am excited to meet you. I'm excited to have some time and just connect. And if there's some
Exactly.
tools that I can help you with, or a referral that I can make, then I'm going to do that. And it's going to be awesome. So, I just want to encourage as many people as possible. I want my schedule to fill up next week. I want it to be completely full.
Just putting that out there right now.
Yeah. I took like a week off and travel, and then I had those couple days. Now I'm ready to get back at it. And then I'm going to actually get the opportunity to travel again. So pretty excited about that. I'm rejuvenated. So I'm ready to, take it on at this point. So anybody
That's
out
awesome.
there, the link's in the description, hit me up. Let's do it.
You deserve that, man.
I'm excited, dude. I've had so much fun working with it. The company actually is 6-man too, that I've been working with. And, they're going to be, requiring certain measures once the cruises start back again. And, I think things happen and fall into place in the way that they should. So I'm not sure that I'll be on those cruise ships in the future. But in the meantime, I do have the opportunity to go down to Florida. Florida's totally open and work. And I think like Sheryl Crow and like Lake Street Dive, and there's some pretty good bands on this festival. So I'll be emceeing. I'm like, ladies and gentlemen, everybody, Sheryl Crow, and that's it. It's really fun and easy. Maybe I'll like host a karaoke session or something, and maybe do some ushering, just kind of stand there, right this way. Watch your step, do some of that, and then hang out down there for a week and just get some beach time.
Oh yes.
Yeah, it'll be nice. I'm very, very much looking forward to it. But yeah, just to make that same offer, and I can absolutely 1000% vouch for Ralph. Please reach out to him. He's an amazing, amazing human being, a good friend of mine, dude. I just love you, man. You're awesome. You're fucking awesome, dude.
You're right back. I received that and right back at you. I do really receive that. Thank you so much for saying that. And I feel the exact same way about you. You're an amazing human being. I mean, well, this is what now, third or fourth time that we're chatting right now?
Yeah. As far as like recording and all of that, I'm so happy. I've been meaning to, like I said, put this together for a while, and I'm glad that happened now. And I'm excited to continue to grow with you and move forward and have you as part of my life, dude. It's an honor, man. Thank you.
It is an honor, honestly. Also, the honor is all mine as well. My God.
Yeah. How am I going to do jokes about, how much I hate Joe Biden tonight with all this love in my heart?
Dig down, man. You got this.
Yeah, I can still hate on him. Yeah.
you can make these jokes with so much love that you can still laugh about them and still get your message across.
Absolutely. No, I just think it's so funny. I feel like it's not even punching up anymore, right? Like you're supposed to punch up. Well, picking on Joe Biden, man, that's fish in a barrel. It's easier than Trump jokes, to be honest. Like, goodness gracious. I never thought it'd be so easy. Like one of the jokes that I was working on is like, he's going to get assassinated by like the wind, like this guy, like it took a shooter on the green to get rid of JFK, but Joe Biden's going to get taken out by like a banana peel, what I mean, on Rainbow Road or something. Like, it's just so funny. I can't believe the clown show that we exist in. And again, I don't have any affiliation to any political parties. It's just funny to me,
it
the
is.
world that we live in. But dude, I just want to, again, thank you so much for coming on, chatting, and I'm excited to continue working with you and moving forward, and encourage everybody, reach out to Ralph. He's amazing. follow him on Instagram. The link's in the description. Send him a Facebook request. And if there's any other sort of links, I'm happy to throw those in. Just shoot them my way, my friend.
Man, I'm so happy that we got to connect. Thank you so much for having me and having this amazing talk. This was so relaxed, so amazing, and such amazing topics that we talked about.
It was really casual and relaxed, and I really enjoy that, because it's just fun. You can just tell that we're riffing, and we could probably talk for like 3 more hours, but I probably need to write some jokes and do some errands today and things. But hey, we'll do it again. We will. Like I said, you've been on my podcast more than anybody, so I think we keep that up.
I would love that. I mean, we always have a great time talking, man. I love these riffing, this just talking, just having a great time. I mean, yeah, I love it.
That's awesome. Well, dude, thank you so much. Thanks for all the work you do. And thanks everybody out there for coming and checking out the show. We appreciate you. Much, much love and many, many blessings.
So much love to everyone out there. I mean, you're doing amazing. I want to tell you, you're doing amazing. Whatever stage you're at in your life, you are doing amazing.
Keep it up. You're crushing it. Love's all there is.